Are you someone who loves neutrals? Or maybe you know someone who loves neutrals. Maybe you've got a random skein of yarn left over from that project that you did a while ago. You're just not sure what to do with this. Let me show you how to turn this into this. Welcome or welcome back. And if you're new and you've never seen me before, I'm Jody with Meadowbank Crochet. I created Meadowbank Crochet as a UK-based charity with the sole purpose of making and donating beanie hats for people who are staying in the hospital or maybe undergoing cancer treatment. This is a charitable organization, so each week I will update you on the status of creating a UK-based charity. I'll then show you the eye candy of the beanie hats that I was able to create this week. And then we dive into my yarn stash and I show you the yarn that I plan to use to make future beanie hats. So let's get started. Okay, so for this week's business update, really the thing that I've been trying to think about is how I really create a community here, whether you're a YouTube watcher or you're not a YouTube watcher, for just the general knitting and crocheting community. How do I build a community and make a space for people to be able to collaborate and contribute to Meadowbank Crochet if they want to? So I've been doing a couple of things in the background just to kind of brainstorm what I could do, and some of the things that I'm thinking about are things like eventually having maybe come crochet and knit meetups where we maybe rent local halls and just have opportunities for people to come together and meet each other and spend an afternoon drinking some tea and doing some knitting and crocheting. So I've been thinking about things like that. Also, again, because this is a charity, any donations or money or contributions that come in all go completely back into making beanie hats. That's the whole goal of this. Again, I'll say this a lot, but I don't pay myself a wage through any of this. 100% of anything that comes into Meadowbank Crochet goes into making and donating beanie hats. That's the sole purpose of this movement. But I'm also thinking about the experience of the volunteers who get involved and make beanie hats. I maybe want to have merchandise in the future that's exclusive to Meadowbank Crochet volunteers. So maybe we'll have stickers and t-shirts, and maybe there's different tiers, like you donate this many beanie hats, you get this product as a gift. I don't know. I'm just thinking. What do you think? What are the types of things that we could do to really ignite this YouTube community and beyond? I'm thinking about going to craft shows and maybe having a booth at some point or handing out flyers, really just trying to get the word out so that anybody who does want to get involved can. So that's the business side of it, really just kind of brainstorming. How do we make this a community that people can, find a comfortable way to contribute to or get involved if they want to? So that's my business update this week. Let's move on to the eye candy and look at the hats that I created this week. So let's do that now. Here's my hat pile. So as you can see, this week was my challenge to create neutral beanie hats. So as I said last week, I love color, and so my eye is normally drawn to color. But look, I can appreciate neutrals. Neutrals are an amazing thing to have in your wardrobe. And I know there's some people who just really prefer neutrals. And so I want to make sure that I'm creating beanie hats that are really inclusive, so that as we're donating them to patients, they can pick out one that really resonates with them and speaks to their own personal preference. So my goal this week was to make as many neutral beanie hats as I could, and I was successful. Now, I did say that if I had time, I was gonna reward myself by making a really colorful Christmas yarn beanie hat. Did I have enough time? It was a busy week at work. I'll have to keep you in suspense. You'll have to wait to the end to see if I did have time to create my Christmas beanie hat. Anyway, if I didn't, I'll do it next week. So let's look at what I was able to achieve this week. So the very first one is here. Oh, and by the way, just sorry, this counter right here. So let me explain this really quickly. As I'm building my stockpile of beanie hats that are then ready to donate to hospitals, I update this number. So as I show you the beanie hat, I'll add to this counter so that you can see how many beanie hats I have in my stockpile. So let me show you the hats. So this is the first one that I was able to create. It's this lovely burgundy color, and I was able to put a brown brown hat tag on this one. So this is hat number 1. Hat number 2 is this one. Now, this was some more of my Aldi yarn. So was the burgundy one. These are both Aldi yarn, of course, as you can see from the little picture I've got here. But for this one, for some reason, this yarn, even though it said it was a 3-weight yarn, it just was super thin. So I ended up double stranding this. So this one is a little bit chunkier because it is double stranded. And I think I sized up to like a 6 millimeter crochet hook for this one. So this was the second hat that I made. Next one was this guy right here. This one has a brown hat tag on it. I really like how this one came out. Just a really lovely brown color. It would actually go with the top that I'm wearing today. So there you go. The next one is this lovely mustardy mustardy yellow hat, and I put a yellow hat tag on this one. So I really like how this one came out as well. Next one is this one, and again, just a nice sort of mocha cappuccino brown, and I put a sort of medium brown colored tag on this one here. Next one, this nice light brown, sort of a beigey brown color, and put a light hat tag on him. For these brown ones, I've put these sort of a brass grommet rather than the silver grommet. I thought that just looked nicer on these neutral hats. So that's my next one. Next on the list, we're getting lighter in the brown family, and this was that random ball of yarn, which you'll see the picture here. I've had this ball of yarn for years. I genuinely have no idea where it came from, what brand it was. The tag was off of it. No clue where I got it or how long I've had it, but it's finally now a beanie hat. So I'm really happy that this yarn is now being put to good use. So this was the next one that I had done. Then again, sort of neutral because it's a light sort of sagey green, was this hat here, and I put a light brown hat tag on this one. Next one on the list is this lovely light gray, and I put a gray hat tag on this one. And finally, I did this white one. White beanie hats are just a real winner, and I put a light brown beigey sort of hat tag on this one. So that was the final hat that I made in my journey of exploring making nothing but neutral hats for a full week. And I'm really happy with how those turned out. Now, it was a busy week at work, so was I successful in creating the Christmas beanie hat? Uh-oh, here's the ball of yarn. I'm kidding, I did. Here it is. This was my celebration for having done a bunch of neutral hats. I'm such a color lover, and I love when beanie hats are just fun and bright. But again, I know that's not everybody's taste, but this was my celebration as getting through all those neutral yarns. So I was able to make this guy and put a red tag on him. So I do have another skein of this that I will turn into another hat at some point in the future. So those were all my beanie hats this week. And I hope that that gives you some inspiration for maybe how to turn that random skein of yarn that you've got laying around from that big project that you made. You know, maybe this had friends before and now it's all alone. Turn it into a beanie hat. They're amazing gifts. Christmas is coming. Make some beanie hats. So normally now what I would do is show you the yarn that I'm going to use for future beanie hats, but I actually thought it would be interesting as well to just show you a little bit behind the scenes of me preparing all of the beanie hats that I have in my stockpile, because as you can see, I have a lot of them in my stockpile right now. I need to get those all prepped and ready to go so that we can donate them. And to do that, I need to take all these hats in my stockpile and actually process them, which includes lint rolling them entirely. If they need steaming, I steam them. And then I have these little hat tags that I create that I put on every beanie hat that I donate. So this little hat tag just says "a gift for you," and it has a little bit of information in this little booklet about Meadowbank Crochet if they want to go find out, you know, how this hat came into their possession, how they were given this beanie hat. So there's a little bit of info here. And again, on my website, there's information about our volunteers so that they can just see all the people who contributed, whether donating money or yarn or their time to make beanie hats. So all of that information is on my website and it's found here. But I've got a lot of hats in my stockpile, and so I need to get all of those lint rolled and tagged so that we can get those put into bags, sealed up and ready to go as hospitals are ready for us to donate to them. So I thought I'd just show you a really quick time lapse of what that actually looks like. So I'll roll the tape and you can see what that processing side of the business looks like. I hope you enjoyed seeing that little behind the scenes look at what it takes to process all of these beanie hats that I have in my stockpile and get them ready to be donated. Lint rolling them and putting tags on them and putting them into bags, all kind of sorted and organized into colors so that I've just sort of got groups of lots of different options for the hospitals as we donate them, is important work to do in the background to make sure that these are all ready to go. So that was just a little window into what the back office part of all of this looks like. So with that, the final thing for this week is just my future yarn plans. So the one thing I will say is I've got a really busy week again at work next week. So if I haven't told you this before, I do, this isn't my full-time job, this work. I work for a major international tech company, and I've got a relatively senior role there. And so I've got quite a lot on next week. So instead of being able to make sort of 14, 15 hats in a week, I think I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a break just because of what I've got to do next week for work. So I've only got a couple of yarns that I plan to use this week to make beanie hats. So this is my first one right here. I really love this color, and I've not used this one before, so I'm interested to see how this makes up into a beanie hat. The next one is this one right here, and it's a similar, same brand, but different color. And so I'm going to use this. I picked these up last time I was in the United States, and so I'm looking forward to using these and making these into beanie hats. So those are my future yarn plans. And with that, thank you so much for being here this week. I hope you enjoyed the little look behind the scenes and our little chit chat about me setting up this charity. Look, it's an experiment. Is this gonna work? I think so. I have faith in us. And I just, no matter why you're here or how you want to be involved, I really appreciate you being here and supporting me. Do all the YouTubey things, and I will see you for next week's video. Thanks so much for being here. Have a fantastic day wherever you are. Bye.